It was midnight. The moon was high, and the river roared louder than usual, as though it sensed something wicked was about to happen. A baby's faint cries pierced the air, wrapped in a thin cloth, tiny fists clenching, 6 fingers on each hand. The woman holding her didn't flinch. Instead, she hummed a lullaby. Slow, off-key, almost sweet, if not for the chill in her eyes. She danced gently as she walked, her feet crunching against fallen twigs, her arms swaying the baby as though she were rocking her to sleep. The river was just ahead, wide, dark, hungry. She stopped at the edge, stared down at the child, then grinned. "You should have died with your mother," she whispered, her voice like poison dipped in honey. 6 fingers? Seriously? That's laughable. You're not a gift, you're a threat. She leaned closer, her face just inches from the crying baby. "You lost the battle before you even started." With that, she lifted the bundle high and dropped it into the river. The water swallowed the cry in an instant. She laughed, turning away. "Say hello to your ancestors, little mistake." And just like that, she vanished into the night, thinking the past had drowned forever. Hello, besties. Please sit up and watch this story till the very end. You won't believe the twist waiting for you. They say the river never forgets. That no secret cast into its depths ever truly stays hidden. On a night when the stars turned their backs, a cry was silenced, a child was cast away, and a legacy was erased. But fate is a stubborn force. The full story begins now. The morning sun rose slowly over the quiet village, stretching its golden fingers across the cracked roads and faded rooftops. A young girl pushed a creaky old wheelbarrow filled with ripe mangoes. Her feet were dusty, her clothes plain, but her eyes carried a softness and strength only pain could plant. She was known by no real name, just the Mango Girl. No one knew her story. No one ever asked. As she moved through the winding path that led to the center of the village, she stopped suddenly. A few steps ahead was an old woman, bent and frail, trying to balance a large bucket of water on her trembling head. The woman didn't ask for help. She never did. Her steps were small, cautious, as if each one might be her last. The bucket wobbled with every sway of her body, and the veins in her thin arms pulsed from the strain. The girl blinked. She looked down at her mangoes, then up at the old woman again. Something tugged at her chest, something strong. She abandoned her cart and rushed forward. "Mama, please wait. Let me help you with that," she said, her voice as gentle as the morning breeze. The old woman turned, startled at first. Then she smiled. A slow, grateful, weather-worn smile. "Ah, thank you, my daughter," she whispered. The girl reached up and gently lifted the heavy bucket from the woman's head, steadying it with practiced care. But as she raised her arms, something caught the old woman's eye. 6 fingers. She froze. Her mouth parted slightly, but no words came. Her eyes widened just enough to show her shock, but just as quickly, she caught herself and smiled again. "My house is a little far," the old woman said, almost in a whisper. "That's okay, Mama. Let's go." "I don't mind." And so they walked, an unlikely pair. The girl balanced the bucket as though she'd done it all her life, and the old woman limped quietly beside her, her mind racing with memories too dangerous to speak aloud. "You left your mangoes," the woman said after a while. "I did," the girl laughed softly. "But your well-being is more important." The old woman stopped walking. She looked up at the girl again, long and hard this time. "Where are you from, my child?" The girl's face dimmed. "Nowhere. I was found in the bush, about 4 years old. They say no one came looking for me. No mother, no father, just me. I don't even know my birthday." The old woman's eyes filled with tears. She dropped her cane. And then she laughed. Her eyes locked on the girl's face, then drifted again to her fingers, those 6 fingers, bold and unmistakable. But she said nothing about them. Instead, she reached for the girl's arm and patted it gently. "My daughter," she said, her voice trembling with something too deep to name, "you need not return to your mangoes business again." The girl blinked in surprise. "But Mama." No, you deserve more. I will find you a job in the city. The old woman wiped her tears and looked deep into her eyes. The girl blinked, confused. Mama? What is it? Why are you crying? The old woman smiled faintly and said, My daughter, you would understand soon enough. 1 week later. The security van pulled into the wide iron gates of a grand mansion. Destiny sat quietly in the back seat, her heart pounding, not from fear, but from the unknown. She had never seen a house so big, so silent, and yet so heavy. The security guard led her inside. The walls were white marble, the chandeliers glistened like frozen stars, but the air felt cold, too cold for a place that looked so beautiful. They stopped at the center of the living room. There, seated in a grand wheelchair with velvet arms and golden wheels, was Madame Geraldine, an older woman with eyes sharper than broken glass and a smile that barely reached her cheeks. She studied Destiny for a long time, then let out a low chuckle. I think you'll be able to cope with me in this house, she said, her voice deep and smooth. Destiny lowered her eyes respectfully. Yes, ma. Madame Geraldine tilted her head, still watching her. And what's your name, girl? Destiny, she replied quietly. That's the name my grandmother gave me. The room fell silent for a moment. Madame Geraldine's eyes flickered. Her fingers twitched slightly on the arms of the wheelchair. Destiny, she echoed, almost to herself. Interesting. Then she nodded, regaining her composure. All right then, go to the back. You'll find a pile of clothes waiting. Start with that. Destiny nodded and turned to go. Unaware that 2 sets of eyes followed her, one curious and the other hiding a storm of secrets. Her journey in the mansion had just begun. Destiny's first night at the mansion. The house was dead silent. Everyone had gone to bed. The lights were off, and Destiny, after a long day of scrubbing piles of clothes, had finally stretched her tired body on the thin mattress in the room closer to Geraldine's room. She was deep asleep until a faint voice crept into her dreams. She stirred. Voices, whispers. She sat up quietly and tiptoed to the hallway, stopping near the open space just beside the kitchen. The voices were clearer now. It was Madame Geraldine and another voice, young, shaky, female. Mom, the girl whispered, I don't know what's wrong with me. Destiny leaned in, curious. Each time I step into the boardroom, I feel empty, like my brain switches off. I can't speak. I can't think. It's like I become someone else. But the moment I leave, I'm normal again. Madame Geraldine scoffed. Oh, please, Amelia. I didn't break bones and bury truths just to hear this nonsense. I fought for that position with blood and sweat. You better fight to keep it. There was a pause. Then a soft, painful laugh. Mom, Amelia said bitterly, you know how smart I am. You know how fast my brain works. But ever since I sat in that chair, all I do is embarrass myself. My staff think I'm cursed. They laugh behind my back. Some even think I'm going mad. Destiny's eyes widened in the dark. Madame Geraldine's voice lowered, almost concerned now. Is it really that bad, Amelia? And just like that, Amelia broke down. They call me heiress, Mom, but the only thing I feel like owning is a mop and bucket. At least as a cleaner, no one expects brilliance. She choked on her sobs, voice trembling. I hate that office. I hate what it does to me. Sometimes, I feel like the title was never meant for me in the first place. Geraldine sat back in her chair, silent. No sarcasm, no lecture, just silence. Destiny, crouched by the wall, felt goosebumps rising on her skin. What was going on? Why would someone born into wealth and power with everything handed to her cry about wishing to be a cleaner? Why would a boardroom of all places make a brilliant girl feel brain dead? And why did Madame Geraldine look more guilty than confused? Destiny quietly tiptoed back to her room, her heart beating fast. Something wasn't right, but she had no idea. Early that morning, Destiny was still fast asleep. Sleep held her tight until a loud, sharp ring yanked her out. Ring! It was the intercom. Destiny's eyes flew open. Still half asleep, she blinked in confusion. The sound was sharp, urgent, almost angry. She reached for the receiver with trembling hands. "Hello?" she whispered. Silence, only the sound of her own breathing. "Hello?" she said again, this time louder. Still nothing. Her heart pounded. She jumped to her feet, threw on her scarf, and dashed to Madame Geraldine's room. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared her for what she saw. The door creaked open, and the smell hit her first. Sharp, rotten, disgusting. Destiny covered her nose in shock. Then she saw Madame Geraldine sitting in her wheelchair, her face red with rage and shame. She had messed herself. Poop everywhere. It was on her clothes, her thighs, even the edge of her wheelchair. It was the kind of smell that could chase demons back to hell. "You useless thing!" Geraldine roared, grabbing a shoe and hurling it at Destiny's head. "You want to kill me before my time? Is that your plan?" Destiny ducked, the shoe barely missing her. "You didn't pick my call. I was calling you over and over. I sat here, helpless, like a child. Now look at me. Do I look like a dog to you?" She threw a handbag next. "Is it that hard to pick a phone, En? Or do they not teach manners in the bush you crawled out from?" Destiny froze, too shocked to cry. "I'm sorry, Ma," she said, her voice trembling. I slept off. I didn't know. Shut up!" Geraldine spat. "Don't open that smelling mouth near me. You're nothing but a mistake walking on two legs." She pointed angrily to her stained skirt. "Clean me up now before I faint from this stench. God knows you're not good for much else." Her eyes filled with tears, but she wiped them quickly. She didn't want Madame Geraldine to see her cry. It would only feed her more insults. As she bent to clean, Geraldine sneered. "Useless girl. If I didn't need hands in this house, I would have thrown you out with your fake sympathy and your oversized pity face." Destiny didn't answer. But inside, she was breaking. Something about that night, about Geraldine's condition, the way the house felt too quiet, didn't sit right with her. Destiny cleaned quietly, but her heart had started asking questions. A few days later. It was a quiet afternoon at the mansion. Destiny sat behind Madame Geraldine, gently weaving her gray hair into soft cornrows. The woman, as usual, kept a stern face, occasionally glancing at the mirror. Destiny hummed lightly, careful not to tug too hard. She had learned Madame Geraldine had no patience for pain, no matter how small. Suddenly, the door burst open. Amelia stormed in, her eyes red and swollen like someone who just bathed in heartbreak. "Mom, my bad again," she said, voice trembling. Geraldine turned sharply in her wheelchair, confused. "Amelia, what is it this time?" "Why are you crying like a baby goat?" Amelia didn't reply. She slumped onto the velvet chair across the room like her knees gave up on life. "I messed up, Mom. I messed up big time today, publicly, at the press conference, in front of all those company giants and journalists." Geraldine narrowed her eyes, already clutching the armrest. "What do you mean messed up?" Amelia sniffled, eyes bulging with shame. I was called to present the new business strategy for Dynamite Global. Everything was ready. The media was there. Even Mr. Hansel from the German group flew in." Geraldine leaned forward. "And?" Amelia shook her head like a child confessing to stealing sugar. "I opened my mouth. And guess what I said?" There was a pause. Destiny slowed her fingers, curious. Geraldine raised an eyebrow. "Rain? Rain? Go away. Come again another day. Little children want to play," Amelia sang, voice cracking midline. Destiny froze behind Geraldine's head. Even the air stood still. Geraldine blinked slowly. "You sang a nursery rhyme?" Geraldine asked, her voice flat, like someone about to faint or kill. "Yes," Amelia nodded, tears rolling down. Not one word about the strategy came out. Nothing. Just that. Like I was possessed by a kindergarten spirit. Destiny gasped softly, holding the comb mid-air. Jean stared at her daughter as if looking at a ghost. "Our biggest client stormed out, Mom." Amelia cried louder. "They said they can't work with clowns. That I'm a disgrace to the board." She pulled out her phone, shoving it in her mother's face. "It's probably on social media by now. Watch it. The internet is already dragging me like a goat on market day. Geraldine didn't take the phone. She just sat, motionless. Amelia choked on her sob. I'm done, Mom. I'm not going back to that office. Let someone else carry this fake crown. Those words snapped Geraldine out of her shock. You will not repeat that foolishness again, Amelia, she growled. You are the heiress. You are the CEO of Dynamite Global. Do you think I fought tooth and nail to put you there just to hear you talk nonsense? But Mom, Amelia whimpered. No but. Geraldine cut in. I don't care if you have to sing all the nursery rhymes in the world. You'll still show up at that office tomorrow. They will respect you by force. Destiny kept her head down, but her heart was racing. Something didn't feel right. The title heiress didn't sit well. The look on Geraldine's face, the fear in Amelia's eyes. It was almost like they were forcing something. Destiny didn't know what it was. But this was more than a business failure. It was a clue. It must be something deeper. The room was quiet again, except for Amelia's quiet sniffles. Mom, she whispered, if this company means so much to you, then maybe you should take over. I mean, you fought for it, right? So why not you? Destiny paused again, her fingers trembling behind Geraldine's head. Even the comb in her hand seemed afraid to move. Geraldine slowly turned her head. Her face changed. Not anger, not sadness. Something darker. She chuckled bitterly. Oh, darling, if only it were that simple. Amelia looked up, confused. What do you mean? I would have taken over, Amelia. Gladly. I would have shown those old men at the table what true brilliance looks like. I'm smart. I'm capable. I watched your father build this company, and I thought I picked a lot from him. Geraldine's voice rose with pride, but then it cracked. But I didn't step down because I was tired, Amelia, she said, voice trembling. I stepped down because I was forced to. Forced by who? By something. Someone. I still don't understand, Geraldine whispered. Destiny's heart skipped. Geraldine took a shaky breath and pointed at her useless legs. You see these legs, Amelia? They didn't stop working on their own. I was paralyzed, not from an accident, not from a fall, but from something strange. She paused, then added more quietly. It happened 14 years ago, during my first and only international appearance as the CEO of Dynamite Global. Paris. That damned meeting in Paris. Amelia's eyes widened. Paris? I remember that trip. I was barely 8. You came back, sick? But I thought it was just exhaustion? Geraldine scoffed. They all said it was stress. The doctors gave it fancy names. Nervous collapse, acute fatigue, even mystery stroke. But deep down I knew something or someone didn't want me in that position. Destiny blinked rapidly. Her hands were now shaking. Geraldine's eye darkened. I attended that meeting like a queen. I presented like a lioness. And just before I left the boardroom, I felt dizzy. By the time we landed back in Nigeria, I couldn't walk anymore. I was unconscious for 2 weeks, and when I woke up, I couldn't feel my legs. Amelia was pale. So you mean the office was cursed or something? Geraldine laughed sarcastically. No, darling. The office isn't cursed. I think I was too powerful, and someone couldn't handle it. Amelia swallowed hard. So that responsibility fell on me because of your illness? Yes. I had no choice. I couldn't be the face of the company anymore. And you were the next option. You, my little Amelia with shiny dolls and glitter notebooks. Amelia looked down, broken. But I don't feel like the heiress, Mom. I feel like the substitute. Then fake it, baby, Geraldine snapped. That's what every CEO does. Pretend until the world believes it's real. Destiny slowly pulled her hand away from Geraldine's scalp. Her mind was spinning. So much had happened in this house. So many secrets, so much pain hidden behind makeup and business suits. Ever since that disastrous press conference, Amelia hadn't stepped a foot outside, not even to breathe fresh air. She had turned the mansion into her personal prison, and Destiny into her full-time prisoner. From morning till night, Amelia was either complaining, shouting, or sulking. Destiny! She screamed one morning from her bedroom, her voice loud enough to wake the entire neighborhood. Didn't I tell you this floor is still dusty? Are you blind or just pretending? Destiny, already drenched in sweat and kneeling with a rag in her hand, forced a weak smile. I'll clean it again, Ma. And these plates. Amelia stormed into the kitchen like a mad queen. Do they look sparkling to you? Is this what they taught you wherever you came from? She dumped the supposedly clean plates back into the sink, clanging them together like drums in a funeral procession. Wash them again. This time, don't use your tears as water. Destiny blinked hard to stop her tears from falling. And the clothes? Amelia would bring out a full basket, throw it at Destiny's feet, then dramatically sniff her own shirt. Ooh, this one still smells like onions. You call this washed? Get back to work and rewash them, every single one of them. All this while Destiny still had to bathe Geraldine, change her, clean her, feed her, brush her hair, massage her legs, carry her wheelchair up and down the stairs, and then still smile like nothing was wrong. The house that once had a strange silence had become a battlefield, and Destiny was the only soldier taking all the bullets. But despite the insults, the tired bones, and the endless chores, one thing kept her from giving up. It was the voice of that old woman from her past. The one who whispered through Destiny's memory every time she felt like running away. Don't leave that house, Destiny. Stay there. Endure. There's a reward waiting for you. A great one. She didn't understand what reward could possibly come from this house full of insults, secrets, and spoiled rich people. But those words wrapped themselves around her like invisible armor. So she stayed. She endured. She cried silently, but smiled openly. Also, since Amelia stopped going to the office, her phone rang like a broken alarm clock, morning, afternoon, and night. Sometimes it was a board member. Other times it was a director asking, Ma, what should we do? Or, Ma, the company's sinking. The once mighty Dynamite Global was wobbling like a baby learning how to walk. Amelia was tired of everything. And Destiny, the maid, was the unfortunate punching bag for her frustration. One afternoon, Destiny was kneeling beside her bed, gently massaging Amelia's legs, quiet as usual, when the phone buzzed again. Amelia hissed and picked it up without even looking. It was the accountant. Ma, the woman said, panic shaking her voice, Keith International has given us 48 hours to appear before their board, or they'll cancel the entire project. Amelia rolled her eyes. And so? They also said, if we don't show up, we must refund 900 million naira. That one hit her like thunder. Amelia jumped up, scattering Destiny's bowl of balm. Are you mad? Can't you go and represent me? What are you doing in that office if you can't defend one contract? The accountant stammered. They said no representative. They want to meet the new CEO in person. Amelia screamed like someone who saw a ghost. I am not your CEO. Stop calling me that nonsense. I'm just the billionaire's daughter. Go and find somebody else to stress. She ended the call and flung the phone on the bed like it had bitten her. Silence. Destiny, who had been quiet all through, lifted her head gently. Ma, she said, soft but clear, is there any way I can disguise myself to be you? Let me help. Just let me try. Amelia slowly turned, squinting like she didn't hear well. What did you just say? Destiny nodded. Let me go to that meeting in your place. You weren't planning to attend anyway. I can act like you. We'll both go, you in disguise, just to watch. I'll speak. If I mess up, we lose, just like we would if you stay home. But if I succeed... Before Destiny could finish, Amelia stood up, grabbed her, and gave her a hot slap that echoed like thunder. Destiny held her cheek, stunned, but said nothing. You must be out of your senses, Amelia spat. You think this is Plates Washing Association annual general meeting or a national maids summit? This is empire business. Educated men, business gurus, global deals, people that smell like billions. Destiny swallowed hard, pain filling her eyes, but her voice stayed calm. Let me try, Ma, just once. Maybe there's still hope. Amelia hissed like a boiling kettle. You think you can wear my shoes? You! What do you know about business? You don't even know how to pronounce meeting properly. But Destiny smiled faintly, like someone hiding a heavy truth. Her voice dropped to a soft yet powerful whisper. I watched my mango business grow from two to hundreds, Ma. When I sold two, I bought three. When I sold five, I bought eight. Then 10, then 20. No investor, no mentor, just wisdom and struggle. Business is business, whether you wear high heels or walk barefoot. She stood up slowly, bowed slightly, and walked out, leaving Amelia frozen like a statue. But behind the slap, the insult, and the sarcasm was fear. Amelia wasn't just angry. She was afraid. Because deep down, something told her. Destiny might be right. She may be illiterate, but who knows? And if that girl could talk like that, then maybe, just maybe, she can save me from this embarrassment. That night, as Destiny laid on her small mattress in her room, eyes staring at the cracked ceiling, she couldn't shake the sting of the slap or the weight of what she had offered to do. Her heart pounded louder than the ticking wall clock. Suddenly, the door creaked open slowly. Destiny sat up, startled. To her shock, it was Amelia stepping inside. Her arms folded, her expression softer than usual. Destiny, Amelia called gently. Are you sure? You can help save this company? Save my face. And the name of this business empire? Destiny blinked, confused. Ma? She said, rubbing her eyes like she was dreaming. Can you really do it? Amelia asked again, her tone filled with both sarcasm and strange hope. Destiny swallowed hard and nodded slowly. I can give it a try, Ma. I don't know what the outcome will be, but just permit me. I'll do my best. For the first time, Amelia gave her a real smile, not the usual mocking one. Okay, she said, straightening. That means you're not sleeping tonight. Destiny's eyes widened. Ma? Yes, Amelia said, already dragging a chair into the room. You want to enter a boardroom filled with wolves and sharks? You need to know how to walk, how to sit, when to nod, when to frown, what to say, what not to say. You're not selling mangoes tomorrow. You're sitting on a billion-naira throne. Destiny nodded nervously, then paused. But who will stay with Madame Geraldine? She may need to use the toilet. Or snack. Or, Amelia raised a hand. You want to wear my shoes? I'll wear yours too. I'll take care of my darling mother tomorrow. I'll sweep, mop, bathe her, feed her, change diapers, everything. You focus on the empire. Destiny blinked, shocked. Ma, you'll mop? Amelia smiled sarcastically. You think only you know how to hold broom? I'm not allergic to chores. I just hate stress. They both chuckled softly. The driver will pick you up by 8 a.m., Amelia added, her voice now sharp with purpose. So sit up. It's time for lessons. There's no room for error. This is not a chin-chin stand. Destiny nodded, though her legs trembled. She remembered her mango stall again, how she started with just 2 fruits, how no customer ever walked away unsatisfied. She smiled to herself. I've never lost a customer, she whispered. I won't lose tomorrow either. And with that, the maid sat straight, ready to train like a queen. The boardroom at Keith International was intimidating. It smelled of wealth, power, and decisions that shaped nations. Long glass tables sparkled under white lights. Men in tailored suits sat with crossed arms, their eyes sharp, unimpressed. Some whispered, Is this a joke? A young girl? Is this the new CEO? Destiny stood at the entrance, her steps slow but sure. She wore Amelia's designer blazer, a borrowed handbag, and borrowed confidence. But her eyes, they held the boldness of a fighter. A tall man cleared his throat. We gave this company 48 hours. You have 30 minutes to convince us why we shouldn't cancel the deal and demand N$900 million back. Destiny smiled calmly. Thank you, sirs. She stepped forward, opened the file Amelia prepared, then closed it again. I'll speak from the heart, she began. I know business may seem like big grammar, titles, and complicated terms, but in truth, business is value. It's trust, it's growth, it's like mangoes. The directors leaned forward, confused. Destiny continued. I used to sell mangoes. I started with just 2. I treated each customer like royalty, and in return they brought more people. From 2 mangoes, I moved to 10, from 10 to a full basket. That's business. That's what this company will do. Serve well, grow fast, and stay trustworthy. There was silence. Then the chairman cleared his throat. Impressive analogy. Clear, sharp, passionate. Can you take us through the projected returns again? Destiny did. She flipped charts, used real-life examples, and answered their every question with confidence wrapped in simplicity. She even made a few of them laugh. By the end, the room was clapping. And then it happened. One of the top officials stood and extended his hand. Dynamite Global will not only keep its deal, we are giving you 6 more projects, effective immediately. Destiny bowed politely. As she stepped outside, cameras clicked. Journalists rushed forward. That night, headlines flooded the air. Dynamite Global CEO spoke with power at Keith International Meeting, secures 6 new contracts in 1 day. Back at the mansion, Amelia danced into her mother's room, waving her phone. Mama, she did it. Destiny did it. We're saved. 6 new contracts. Geraldine smiled, eyes watery. We must double her salary. She'll do your job outside and still do her own inside. They all burst into laughter. At the company office, Destiny returned to drop off the files, still in her borrowed power suit. As she walked in, 2 senior directors approached her. The eldest, with white hair and sharp eyes, nodded in respect. We saw your presentation, he said. Brilliant. That mango example. Simple but powerful. You saved this company. Destiny smiled shyly. Thank you, sir. But then one of them paused and stared at her hand. Wait, your finger. 6 fingers? Destiny nodded. Yes, sir, I was born like that. They exchanged surprised looks, asked her a few questions, and stormed out. A moment later, the mansion's gate flung open with a creak, and Destiny stepped in, not as a maid this time, but flanked by 2 elderly directors, the company's business lawyer, the family lawyer, and 2 other elderly men. Their shoes echoed through the marble floor like a marching storm. Geraldine was in the sitting room sipping her tea when she noticed them. Her smile disappeared. Her hands froze midair. What in heaven's name are you all doing in my house? She barked. But her eyes locked on the 2 older men beside the directors, and that's when the fire erupted. She pointed at them angrily. I thought I warned you never to bring your irritating, ugly faces near me again, she shouted, her voice trembling with disgust. The older of the 2 men gave a mocking grin, brushing invisible dust off his dress. No matter how hard you try, Geraldine Hovan, you can't erase us completely from your life. You still bear our name. You're still a Hovan. Geraldine's lips quivered. Keep your cursed name to yourselves. The other director calmly stepped forward. We're not here to fight. We came for an important revelation. Destiny said. She works here as a maid, but it seems since she came here, you never notice her fingers? Geraldine rolled her eyes. So that's why you're here? To talk about a girl's fingers? Please, I have better things to do. Leave my house at once. But before anyone could respond, the doors creaked open again. An old woman stepped in slowly, her white hair tied in a scarf, her back slightly bent, but her eyes sharp like broken glass. Apologies, I came late, she said gently. Geraldine froze again. Her cup fell from her hand and shattered on the floor. You witch! I told you never to step into this house again. I'll call the police right now. The old woman chuckled darkly. Go ahead, call them. I'd love to see who will be arrested today. Everyone was now standing. One of the old Hovan men stepped forward. Destiny, show her. Destiny, trembling slightly, raised her hand and opened her fingers wide. Silence. Then Geraldine staggered back like she'd seen a ghost. 6 fingers, she whispered. 6 fingers, she repeated louder, almost screaming, holding her chest. Her eyes widened in terror as she pointed at Destiny. So you're the one? Her voice broke. You're the baby I dropped into the river years ago. Gasps filled the room. Destiny's eyes filled with tears. The directors looked stunned. The old woman didn't flinch. The family lawyer cleared his throat. You dropped her into the river after poisoning your co-wife. You dropped the real blood of this family, the heiress, into a river to swap destiny. But fate had its own plan. Destiny turned to Geraldine, confused and heartbroken. You tried to end me, even before I began? Geraldine broke into tears, screaming and cursing the past. The old woman walked to Destiny and gently held her shoulders. Your name was Davina Hoven, but they erased it. They erased you. But now, the truth is out. I am your mother's mother. I was the first to hold you at birth. Then Geraldine collected you from me, and a moment later, she said you died in her hands. I knew you didn't die just like that, but I had no proof. Destiny could barely breathe. Her whole life had just turned inside out. Amelia stood frozen, her eyes darting between Destiny and the guests like a child watching her world collapse brick by brick. Wait, she breathed, you mean she's my sister? The family lawyer shook his head slowly, his expression a heavy mix of pity and disappointment. No, Amelia, she is not your sister. You are not a Hovan by blood. The words echoed through the mansion like thunder. Amelia staggered backward like someone had slapped her soul. That's a lie, she murmured. You're joking, right? She turned sharply to her mother, desperation dripping from her voice. Mom, say something. Tell me it's not true. Geraldine didn't speak right away. Her hands trembled as she slowly adjusted herself on the wheelchair. Her lips moved, but no sound came out for a few seconds. Then, like someone who had been holding in poison for years, she finally whispered, I didn't know the truth, not until I married Daniel Hoven. I didn't know how powerful the family name was. I was young, ambitious, and scared. Amelia stared at her, confused and trembling. When I waited and couldn't get pregnant, Geraldine continued, I panicked. I made a mistake. I slept with another man, and I got pregnant with you. Tears rolled down Amelia's cheeks, her hands covering her mouth. By the time I gave birth, I started hearing whispers. People gossiping behind my back that you weren't Daniel's blood. 2 years later, Hoven married another woman, and she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. She turned slowly toward Destiny, who was still frozen in place. That baby was you. And the moment I saw those 6 fingers on your tiny hand, I knew you were Hoven's true heir. That moment, everything I had built, every lie I had told, was on the verge of crashing. Destiny's eyes widened, heart pounding like a drum. Geraldine clenched her fists. So I did the unthinkable. I took you. I wrapped you in cloth and I dropped you into the river. I wanted to protect Amelia. I wanted to secure our place in the Hovan Empire. You tried to kill me? For power? Destiny whispered. Geraldine turned away in shame. Amelia dropped to the floor, tears streaming down her cheeks. She looked at Destiny with shattered eyes. I mocked you. I insulted you. I slapped you, forced you to mop floors, and you're the rightful heiress. Destiny didn't speak. She was still digesting the storm of truth that just ripped through her life. From a mango seller, to a maid, to a fake CEO, and now the real heiress, a daughter once thrown into a river, standing in her own home. Then she suddenly turned to the frail old woman beside her and wrapped her arms gently around her. Thank you, Grandma, she whispered, voice thick with emotion. I love you. The grandmother, her eyes glistening, patted Destiny's back gently. And I thank God, she smiled, that I lived long enough to witness the end of this drama and the beginning of your true story. 1 week later. The Hovan Empire wore a new face. Flashbulbs exploded, reporters shouted questions, and cameras zoomed in as a young woman stepped onto the podium in a stunning beige suit, her head held high. Ladies and gentlemen, the MC announced, please welcome the newly confirmed CEO of Dynamite Global, Miss Destiny Hovan. The crowd roared, from mango seller, to maid, to impersonator, to the true heir of a multi-billion-dollar empire. Her journey had become a national sensation. Meanwhile, Geraldine, once the Iron Lady of the mansion, now sat in a cold prison cell, charged with attempted murder, conspiracy, and falsifying legal heir documents. Amelia, broken and emotionally wrecked by the truth, had been rushed to the hospital. Her mind refused to accept the reality. She now lay quietly in a private mental ward, staring into space. Grandma, the long-forgotten truth-bearer, was welcomed into the mansion like royalty. She now sipped tea peacefully on the balcony, finally free from years of guilt and regret. Every news channel, every blog, every tabloid headline, from Bush baby to billionaire boss. The maid who outshone the CEO, Destiny Hovan, the girl with 6 fingers who took over a giant empire. Destiny sat in her new office, fingers dancing over the smooth surface of the CEO's desk. She smiled faintly, remembering her days of hawking mangoes. I never lost a customer, she whispered to herself, and I've just won the biggest deal of my life. Hello, besties. Wow, what a journey. From mango seller to maid, then fake CEO, and finally the true heir to a billion-dollar empire. Destiny's story reminds us that no matter where you come from, your destiny can never be buried forever. Moral lesson? Don't look down on anyone. That housemaid, that market girl, that quiet neighbor might just be the next CEO, the next star, or even the one sent to help you one day. And to you watching this, never give up on yourself. Your background doesn't define you. Your determination does. Thank you so much for following this story till the very end. To everyone who liked, shared, commented, and supported, I appreciate you deeply. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and drop your thoughts in the comment section. I'm always reading them. I love you all so much, besties. God bless you, and see you in the next story.